Aw, they're cute.
I move that your cat stinks and is ugly.
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Today we're diving into r/LegbeardStories from my personal subreddit, r/ReddX reads. Ain't that a something something? I've been digging back through the archives, and I told you I had some Legbeard stories in reserve. This is indeed one of them, called The Upstairs Neighbor from Hell, from user SylTeddy, S-Y-L Teddy, 2 months ago. It's taken me a while to get to this one, but I've just been saving it. That's what it is. If anybody has, that's what we're gonna go with. It's not from a lack of time, it's not from a lack of interest. It's just, yeah, I gotta stack these Legbeard stories up, so I got some for the future, you know? Because not everybody does the Legbeard stories, so I gotta keep it. It's kind of my thing these days. But we will see what we got here today. We'll get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive right into some Legbeard stories cringe. The Upstairs Neighbor from Hell. Or is this a Legbeard? I don't know. I guess we'll have to judge. I think it is, though. I labeled it as a Legbeard. Please, God, let it be a Legbeard. It's a long story, so I'm going to try not to blab too much in the middle. I'm just getting it out of the way right now. ReddX, if you find it a fitting tale, please tell my story. Or if I missed any red flags. P.S. Sorry for any typos. I did my best to fix the ones that I saw. Well, I don't really vet things in advance, but it's here, so it's fitting, and I will try to point out some red flags. So, I moved into my apartment on December 15th, 2019. The first week, this lady stops me outside of my door to ask where I'm from. I tell her the name of my hometown. She then asks me what church I go to and invites me up to her apartment for Bible study before I've even answered her second question. Red flag. I'm an atheist, and I normally tell people that up front, but I got a bad feeling from this lady within seconds of meeting her. So I politely declined her offer, saying something along the lines of, "Thank you, but I don't really like being around strangers," and excuse myself to go back into my apartment. Bruh, perfect line. I love it. She apparently took this as a challenge, and after this, anytime she would see me, she would stop me and force small talk onto me, or remark on the fact that she thought I had moved because she didn't see me using my living room. Mind your business, bitch. Red flag 2. I live on the ground floor because of a health condition. During one such forced interaction, her cat, not even supposed to be outside of her apartment, runs into my apartment, and she pushes past me out of the way to chase her cat into my apartment until she corners it in the bathroom, grabs her cat, and just casually strolls out of my apartment. Yeah, let yourself in. Red flag 3. I'm totally dumbstruck by this, but little do I know that this would only be the tip of the iceberg. After that, she knocked on my door to ask what I did for a job. I don't have one. I'm on Social Security due to health issues, my learning disabilities, panic disorder, and PTSD. At the time, I was also on delayed enrollment in college classes due to me getting accepted a week before the term started. There were also 2 deaths in my family, and me being moved to a new city that I didn't know. She takes all this as the green light to demand to know what I have, because I don't look disabled. Oh God, we are overflowing with red flags. That's number 4, the biggest of all so far. Nobody needs to look disabled to be disabled. Why don't you just believe people when they tell you some shit? I can tell I'm already gonna want to beat this woman to death by the end of the story. But OP is congenial. I'm used to people taking this form of rudeness with me, so I simply tell her I have dyslexia, Asperger's syndrome, and health issues caused by anemia. She goes, "Oh!" and then asked me,
If Asperger's syndrome makes it so someone can't do physical work, like putting dishes away.
I cock an eyebrow and say, no, that isn't a thing. This leads to her asking me to explain Asperger's syndrome and then explain how autistic spectrum disorders work. Google it, you hoe. She keeps cutting me off to say,
Well, I don't see how that stops people from working a normal job.
And I'm slowly getting more and more annoyed because it's clear to me now that she really just wants to shit on this girl with disabilities that I and she clearly knows nothing about. So I tell her that if she's really interested in learning about it, then she should buy a book on it. Or, Google it. She continues to try and keep me there to listen to more of this deeply offensive rant that has basically just become,
She's not disabled, she's just lazy.
That seems like it's aimed at me and everyone like me more and more with each passing moment. I finally got away by telling her I had to get ready for bed because I had a meeting with my counselor in the morning. God damn, dude, that's like flags, what, 5, 6, 7, 8? Splomio, Splomazel. When spring comes, this lady asks me
if she can put some plants in front of my apartment.
I'm like, yeah, okay, because I'm thinking she just wants to put a couple of plants outside. But no, she plants a whole shitload of stuff out in front of my apartment, including trying to plant bamboo in front of my window, which is illegal to plant in my state. And she sets up a chair and a table outside of my window where she proceeds to smoke every night. Oh no, this cannot stand. In the summer, she would just sit out there all day before going to work, and then at night when she got back from work, and she'd just smoke and drink and read a book and force small talk on anyone that she could pull into it. Oh no, man. I'm now unable to look outside my windows without seeing this woman. Not able to open my windows without smoke coming into my home. And I'm unable to come and go without this woman being there to force small talk on me anytime that she sees me. I don't know, man. It sounds to me like a very, very frank conversation is in order here. Jesus. That summer, I put 2 rainbow hand fans in my living room window that I got around the end of Pride Month. This led to her stopping me outside of my apartment to ask me about my sexuality. God. I lost count of the red flags already. I'm asexual, pan-romantic, which I tell her. In hindsight, I should have just pushed past her and slammed my door in her fucking face. And she takes this as an opportunity to rant at me for half an hour to an hour about the gays! How they stole the rainbow from her people, Christians, how it's a symbol of hope for her people, and how dare they, the gays, and by default me, corrupt the symbol of hope for her people. God damn. She really taking that personal, huh? I'm eventually able to make up an excuse to slip away and return to my apartment. Don't make up an excuse. Just tell her straight up, you're an idiot. But OP, very non-confrontational. I wake up later to my hallway covered in water, and water dripping from the top of the frame of my 2 hallway closets. I had to throw out a bunch of dried food that I was storing in the closet shelves, the only place in my apartment that I could use as a pantry. I called the manager, they turned off the water in the apartment above me, and sent a plumber. The plumber can't find a leak, or anything in the apartment above me that would cause water to leak into my closets, so I'm just told to keep an eye on it and let him know if it happens again. The next week, she tells me that she had overheard that I was going to be looking into getting a black kitten, and that her cat is pregnant, and she offered to let me have one of the kittens if one of them was black. Well, that's a nice gesture at least, but how did you overhear that? She's got the place bugged, OP. The cat gives birth, and this lady comes down to my door a few days later and lets me know that she wants me to visit the kitten. And the kitten is growing, and to try and form a bond with the kitten. So I go into her apartment for the first time, and it looks like a hoarder's nest. Piles of stuff, taller than me, block off a hallway to the living room. The kitchen tile, once white, is now a white, yellow, gray color. There is a full and very dirty cat litter box beside the only door in or out, with what I think was newspaper under it to try and save the floor. The floor outside the kitchen was a brown rug that was only viewable in certain places, and this acted as walkways around the den or as the play area for a young girl around the age of 10 that stayed with this lady on and off. Jesus, who was leaving their kid with this woman? She left me after insisting that
I come up to her den
that smelled of a dirty cat box and lemon to get a glass in the kitchen. After a moment, it must have dawned on her that I didn't know where the kittens that she insisted I visit were, and she told me that they were in the bedroom closet. This was also when she told me that
she didn't want me to touch them until I had washed my hands.
I walked down the hall, flipped on a bathroom light, and my jaw almost hit the floor. Everything was dirty. The sink was covered in stuff. Some of it I knew what it was, or could at least venture a guess, and some other stuff was just a total mystery to me. She even had to show me where the soap bottle was because it was like looking at a Where's Waldo page. That's a cluttered bathroom. There wasn't a towel in the bathroom to dry my hands on, so she handed me one from a basket of clothes that was sitting just outside the bathroom. Ah, nice and clean now. It was at this point that she allowed me into the bedroom to see the week-old kittens, who she was cooling with a fan. Big no-no. Also, why does it smell like lemon? I know lemon is a no-no for kittens. She makes me sit on the bedroom floor so I can get a better look at them, and the fan blowing cold air onto them. I swallow my urge to ask if she's trying to kill them, and instead just say, "Ah, they're cute." I am 100% ready to leave at this point, but I can't because she is blocking the door. Before I know it, she's in the room, taking the kittens out of the closet and putting them onto the bed so I can
see them better.
I'm telling her that she doesn't need to do that. She's not listening and has put about half of the 6 kittens onto the bed. Mother cat comes in, sees this, clearly freaks out and jumps onto the bed and is panic moving the kittens back into the closet while this lady's just telling the mother cat that she's
being such a pill
and laughing. This is the point that I'm finally allowed to leave, and hell yeah, I do. I went back up there a few other times to see the kittens and gave her a rabbit hide for the kittens to sleep on. Rabbit hide holds heat. It was during one such visit that she told me that she had a nightmare
that the kittens had fleas.
They did. They also had worms because the mother had both too. Since this woman refused to put flea medication on the mother and she just let the cat go in and out. It was then that she told me that she had poured lemon juice all over the cats because she heard lemon juice kills fleas. Oh my God, lemon juice also kills cats. This woman is a psychopath. Some point after that, I asked if she had the mother cat or any of the kittens tested for feline AIDS, because the father, or fathers, were likely feral. If they had AIDS, then they'd pass it to the mother and the kittens. This woman looks at me shocked and goes,
"Cats can have AIDS?"
I said yes, and then had to explain how feline AIDS passes. The birds and the bees. That it only affects other cats, and that if a cat tests positive for feline AIDS, it has to be quarantined in a home with only other FIV positive cats. After this, she stops talking to me about cats or if I knew how to care for a cat. Better than you! Due to my learning disabilities, my health issues, and my lack of a car or driver's license, I'm allowed to have a PSW, personal service worker, to take me to doctor's appointments, grocery shoppings, and help me with cleaning when I'm not feeling well. This lady, she lives across the hall from my upstairs neighbor, stopped me when I was coming back to my apartment after getting the mail or throwing the trash out after dark to ask,
Who is the girl that she always sees coming in and out of my apartment?
I say, she's my personal service worker. Her job is to help me with light housework and to take me to appointments and grocery shopping. This woman, who had to be in her early 60s, late 50s, then proceeds to completely ignore my answer, giggle at me, and just tell me,
I had a lesbian phase when I was younger too, but God cured me.
What the hell are you talking about? She then continued to prattle on for at least a half an hour about her
Lesbian phase.
her husband, never seen him, they're either divorced or dead, and something about how
God could fix me too.
I excuse myself when I can no longer stand listening to her. See, she's got the answer already in her head. She just wants you to confirm it. And when you don't confirm it, she just continues on with the answer that she already had in her head. This is a wild ride. I woke up later to find my hallway wet. Again. I sighed, cleaned it, and transferred anything that I cared about into plastic storage tub with my personal service worker's help. She later used this kitten that I'd been given to mentally scar me by encouraging its mother to run into my apartment, grab the kitten that she had given me only the night before by its face, and proceed to drag the kitten out of my apartment and up the stairs back into this lady's apartment, all while she's just standing there laughing. My mother was with me when this happened and saw everything. I just let the kitten stay with that lady, visiting her mother for the weekend. Then I told her to just keep the fucking kitten and explained to her that she had made it clear that she didn't really want me to have the kitten in the first place. Our relationship would become far worse after this. Oh God, the downward spiral. She would purposely block my way into my apartment door, block my parents' way into my door, block my personal service worker's way to my door, continued to sit outside my living room window and smoke and drink. She isn't allowed to do this, and she knew that even then, and would repeatedly come up to me and say generally creepy shit. The creepiest of which was the time that she knocked on my door to tell me that
she moved her chair a little further away from the window so I don't have to worry about her eavesdropping on my phone calls.
How kind. She did this the day after I told my mother on a phone call that I knew this woman had been eavesdropping on my phone calls while sitting outside my window. This is so weird. At this time, she also gets 3 more cats, all of which she proceeds to neglect so severely that they spend hours outside of my door every single day in all sorts of weather. They repeatedly tried to get into my apartment, with one actually succeeding and trying to go after one of my cats while my mom is trying to help me bring groceries into the apartment. Needless to say, I complained about this issue enough times that she eventually had to rehome 2 of her cats. And I'm sure those cats are fucking grateful. As grateful as a cat can be. So that brings us up to last month. A little after midnight on the 12th, I wake up to what sounds like loud rain hitting a tin roof or something. I'm about to go back to sleep when I realize 2 things. 1, my bedroom window is closed. And 2, the rain is too loud to be from outside. So I bolt up out of bed, run to my hallway, and slide open my hallway door to find that it is raining inside of my closet. I could also hear the sound of water hitting the wall outside. I spent several minutes trying to get the water to stop, and then had to clean it all up because my cats are trying to drink the puddles of ceiling closet rain despite having fresh water in their bowls. That's cats for you. When I eventually open the door, step outside, and look around, I see this woman holding a hose, and the concrete-covered stairs outside of my apartment are soaking wet. I point at the stairs and say, "Can you please stop doing whatever the hell you're doing?" To which I met with her growling at me in her best annoyed Karen-sounding tone.
If you want me to stop, you'll need to get it in writing.
I am barely managing to contain my rage at this point, and I say, "You are making it rain in my closet." To this, she says that
I need to get it in writing.
Again, as I go back into my apartment and slam the door in her face. I take a few minutes to breathe and calm down before calling my apartment manager and telling her what the hell this woman is doing outside of my apartment in the middle of the night, and that she is the cause of the mysterious rain in my hallway closets. I'm told that it will be dealt with in the morning, and that the water spigots that she's using will be turned off and locked, as well as her being banned from using the hoses anymore. The next morning, I'm informed that if I see her with the hose again, I'm to tell management. She, of course, spends the next few days complaining right outside of my living room window/door to anyone that will stop and talk to her about how
it's not fair that they cut the water hose off and how they need the water.
Yeah, I gotta keep these stairs nice and wet. How else is Shamu supposed to get down the stairs? I don't understand why. 10 days later, I'm coming back from the grocery shopping trip with my mom, and I see this woman outside of the apartment with her hose hooked up to the building across from us. And water is coming halfway down the sidewalk that sits between our building and the opposite building. She sees me, then looks at my mother, and instantly starts following me down the walkway, telling me
how sorry she is,
and telling me how,
if I need it, she'll give me money for the damages.
I say nothing, but am seething in anger because she doesn't know how much of my property she's even destroyed, and is offering me reparations that even my mother thinks she only offered up because my mother was standing right there. I sent my manager a photo of her with the water hose and explained that she isn't just watering her plants. She's watering 4 yards worth of plants, including trees. I also disclosed it to my service coordinator, a list of complaints about her trying to force unwanted conversations on me, a refusal to stop blocking people from getting to my door, a refusal to stop smoking in front of my living room window, and her sitting right outside of my window complaining about what a bitch I am for getting the water spigots turned off. Oh, so OP has tried to have this conversation. Then this woman is far worse than I feared. She continues to escalate this behavior until we come to the grand crescendo. On the 1st of this month, around 9 p.m., I'm on the phone with my mother, making myself dinner. My living room window's open to cool down the apartment. My blinds only open enough so that air can filter in while I'm inside of my apartment in a sports bra and boxer shorts because it's like 90 degrees in my apartment at 9 o'clock at night. I get a feeling right about this same time, and I hear this lady say,
I wonder what they'd think of that.
And
I've been here for 3 years.
I choose to ignore her and pay attention to my mother on the other end of the phone. My ignoring her was clearly not the reaction that she wanted, so she went and hooked up a hose to God knows where and proceeded to start coming closer to my open window, which my cats are inside of. She's approaching my window on the side that doesn't have any plants on it. It has dirt, and days before this, she'd been forced to remove all of her plants from the area in front of my window. The hose is on, there's water coming out of it, and she is moving ever closer to my window and my cats. What a psychopath. You know she's gonna stick that hose in the open window. Eventually, she gets within less than a foot of my apartment, and that's when I jump up, put my phone on a footrest besides the cube storage thing that my cats are on, and yell at her, "If you spray my cats with that hose, I'm calling management." She then cops an attitude with me about how
She wasn't gonna spray my cats, and she's nowhere near the window.
one of these claims I know for sure is bullshit, because she's not even a foot away from my window with a hose that is spraying water. It is at this time that her friend that I didn't know was there decided to jump in. This friend proceeded to make the statement that I clearly have
Childhood issues.
that the complex manager said to ignore me. She did not, and was visibly irritated when I informed her of this situation, and told me that she told this woman to leave me alone and stay the hell away from my apartment. And then the friend looks at the lady from upstairs and asks,
Do you want me to record her?
then looks at me, waves her finger at me, and says,
I'm gonna record you.
"Yeah, okay. Video proof that you're an obsessive bitch because I'm just standing in my house doing nothing." I am dumbstruck, furious, confused, and bordering on a panic attack at this point because there's two crazy bitches outside of my window threatening to film me through my blinds for supposedly
Harassing them.
I go to close both of my windows, accidentally grabbed the wrong windows and kind of jammed it open. So instead, I just closed the blinds the rest of the way, grab the phone, retreat to my bedroom, which is on the other side of my apartment. I get off the phone with my mom and try to contact the manager to have them help me fix this fucking window. After a few minutes and no reply back, I go back into the living room and try to fix it myself. I had barely opened the window blinds when I hear my main harasser call to a man outside and tell that man to go get her friend and have her friend bring her phone. Well, my blood ran absolutely cold, and I moved right back into my bedroom, texted my apartment manager to please come, because this woman was having somebody come to film my apartment. I had a full-blown panic attack at this point, called my mother while in tears, and started begging them to come and get me. My mother's trying to calm me down, and explaining that if they did come and pick me up, I'd have to leave my cats behind because they don't have room for them. So I text the manager again at this point and tell her that I don't feel safe. I couldn't call the police because I didn't have the non-emergency number. I have it now, but I didn't then. Seems like a good thing to keep on hand, Dopey. The manager finally answers my text with, "She's having someone come do what to your apartment?" and tells me that if I don't feel safe, I should contact the non-emergency police number, and then ask me if I still need help with the window. I tell her I don't have that number for the police, but yes, please come and help me with the window. I also tell her that I don't know if they're still out in front of my window and I'm too scared to check. The manager says she'll be over shortly, and at 10 p.m. her and her boyfriend appear at my door. I apologize for ruining their evening. The boyfriend fixes my window while I quietly explained what has happened to the manager. The manager tells me to write the complaint up and give it to her in the morning. Once the window is fixed, they leave. And as they're leaving, I hear my main tormentor say in the most sugary sweet tone,
Is something wrong?
Upon hearing her voice, I close my door as quickly as I can and lock it while trying not to come off as rude to my heroes, who are likely the only reason that these two creeps had moved away from my window. The manager was sick the next day, so I spent the second contacting my disability service coordinator to get the non-emergency police number and the number to a law firm in case they attempted this form of harassment again. I brought the written complaint in on the 3rd and spoke to the manager about this incident again, and was at that time informed that there's a security camera that overlooks my window, and that my manager intended to call this lady's case manager and turn over both my complaint and the recorded footage. I've been told that if she does anything else, I am to mark down the time, make the manager aware of it, and if necessary, call the police. The manager also told me at that time that she had just done her first trial eviction, So now she was certified to do that. God damn. At the end of it all, I really only have one question for you, OP. What are the gun laws like in your state? It is so true that hell is other people. Both of you guys made an effort to reach out, make some sort of connection, but it all did end up falling apart. And at that point, you should just completely cut ties, you know? And it seemed like OP tried to. They're like, okay, just keep the fucking cat, keeping the conversations brief. This woman is still sitting outside the window despite having been asked to move. But yeah, part of me understands why you allowed her to do so, because you want to be good with your neighbors and such. Although I personally don't think that I would have let it get that far. I would have said, this is my space, that's your space. If you've run out of space, I guess you're gonna need to make more space. I paid for this area and I ain't giving it up. Apartment living is a horrible thing, like inherently. I hope you get out of it sooner rather than later, OP. And if you do find yourself in another situation like this, somebody's trying to be a busybody, get a little too nosy. They're like, hey, why don't you tell me what you do for a job? And you just say, that's a personal matter. Hey, why don't you tell me about your sexuality? That's a personal matter. You know, there are probably only 2 sentences that this Legbeard would ever hear me say. Oh, I'm running short on time, I'm a little busy, and that's a personal matter. Everything's a personal matter if you want to make it so. It gives you a bit of extra distance, lets people know that you're a private person, and I think that is the most effective way to keep good relations with your neighbors. Good fences make good neighbors, as they say. You don't want to be buddy-buddy with your neighbors, just be respectful. Keep a good fence between you. It's my general strategy. I don't want to really get too buddy-buddy with anybody. They might gossip at the end of the day, but that's fine. Go ahead. Let me live rent-free in your head. You know what I mean? I don't actually care what anybody else thinks of me. I'm too old. I'm all out of give a fuck. But there's one thing that I do care about, friends, and that is you validating my existence by liking, commenting, and or subscribing on the video if you would be so very kind. You might also share it around if you should like. All of us have probably been here at some point or another. I also hope you check out them links in the description, all kinds of stuff, plugs and social medias, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, oh, and my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. I'd like to thank them as I do every video, so thank you very much. Calvicus, Fatboy Shrimp, Robert Waits, TSM Kirby, USMC8932, Aaron W, Twisted Child, Delicious Jelly Donut, Candy Sora, Fire Drake, Livison, Mr. Anime Megafan, Silent Revolver, Zero MMX, Magdalene Marshall, Thornrose, Little Lone Wolf, Vanilla Mel, Ralph Stellar, Babsy Coon, Caustic Fox, Disposable Waifu, Aaron Lennox, Fisher Diggy, High Pat Japan, OG James Cook, a pimp named J Crisp, JM Coon, Jerry, John Hero, KK, Miss Monday, Melgar the Destroyer, Mirthful Baker, Mr. J, my boy Nat1 Nick, Lady Nix, Orgamus Steve, Katykins and Elizabeth, Sidestep, Cider Drinker, Serrated Ash, Siegfried, Synaptic Boomstick, Tamago, Tato Ferret, Teddy the Police, 10-Ton Monster, Dead Duck and Bug, Fusky, Treeberg, Wilmags, Redwind, Goose Says Honk, Leon Embers, Naga Viper, John Indoors, A Normal Joe, A Roxers, Cake Jerry, that's a different Jerry, KJW, Kajow, Crafty Kitty Cat, Little Ann Woods, Mark 211, maybe next time, Milk-Fed Gimp, Miss Duchess, Orgamic Cam, Princess Rosalie, Ghosty, Raptor Art, Ellie, The Last Shinobi, and the Maestro himself, Zuka Cervantes. Little Ann Woods is a new patron, so welcome to the fold. Super glad to have you. Wrote some stories in the past. We're gonna get to another one quite soon here. So just hang on to your britches, everybody. We got plenty of delicious sagas and stories going on because the Neckbeard train just don't stop. And I hope that you guys will provide some more fuel for the fire by throwing your money into the engine. If you can afford to do it, if you have money to burn, then I would be much appreciative. But if you can't do it right now, don't sweat it too hard, friends. I mostly just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope that you come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. In order to do so, you'll need to keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today, like watching some more ReddX videos, just off the cuff. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely, definitely deserve it. I will see you in the next one, and until then, friends, bye-bye.